Here is another very important test. Can it? This is the Mokwheel Obsidian. It is a full suspension fat tire e-bike with a rear hub motor and a thumb throttle. It has an 8-speed Shimano drivetrain along with Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, lights, and some pretty wild looking grips. Time to go see how it rides. Okay, we are out on the RC track. Going to kick this video off a little different than typical. Going to do some lap times on the track with the bike, and starting things off here using throttle only. And after this, she's going to do a lap while pedaling to see which one is faster, and then I'll do some laps as well to see how we compare. Looks like she's cruising around all right. See what that lap time was.
24.73.
She is in assist level 3 and going to pedal only instead of use that throttle. She probably just doesn't want to go to 5 because it might be a little too much to handle, but I'll run it in 5 to see if I can control the power. This bike does have a torque sensor, so it's a little different how the power comes on. We'll see how it works out here on the track.
23.5 something.
So you were a little bit faster with the pedals. It must put out more power when you're pedaling than when you're using the throttle, and you can control that power by how much effort you put in. That was your first ride on it. How'd it feel?
I like the little cushy part for the handle grips. That was nice for just a little bit of wrist support. It feels really heavy for me, but I'm just because I am a little bit smaller. And the other thing too, for short people, for me, it's a little harder to get onto, but overall it took off really nicely.
There we go, my turn. I have ridden this bike a bit more already, so a little more used to it than Hannah is. Oh, definitely a little weak using the throttle on that little jump there. Probably can't jump much here, but next lap hopefully will be faster when I'm pedaling. I am in assist level 5. Had a 19 there, so start pedaling now. If it's any better, definitely feels quicker there. Handling isn't too bad around the corners. Just feels like a big heavy bike, but that's to be expected with this. Well, I had a 19 something using the throttle and a 17 something using the pedals, so about 2 seconds faster just using the pedals, not relying on that throttle. Now I'm going to turn the assist off completely, see what happens then. Now it's really going to feel heavy, but might as well see how much slower I am. Try to get a little manual in there, feeling more comfortable every lap, getting more used to it. The brakes aren't great yet. Hopefully they'll break in and get better. I also didn't switch them around to motorcycle style, so try not to use them too much. 18, so I was actually faster without the motor on than using just the throttle. But now I'm more tired, that's for sure. Now it's time for a hill climb test. Hannah's rolling into it with throttle only. Makes it up no problem. Okay, now she's trying it with no run, all motor, and it still makes it. Not every bike can do that. I think most rear hub motorbikes have failed at that test, so now I'm gonna have to try it with me, extra weight, see if it can handle that. Okay, let's see what it can do. I'll be pretty surprised if it makes it with me, but it does actually pretty easily. So I've tried that on a bunch of different rear hub motorbikes, and I don't think any of them have made it without some help from the pedals. This one, I really didn't even think about pedaling. It did slow down to about 4 miles an hour, but got me up here with no problems. Might have to go back and check if any other bikes did, but so far, surprised at that power. Time to test out that pedal power with a bit of a, pretty technical line. Got to think about this one a little bit. I wasn't used to how low the chainring sits, so smashed the rock, bent it, but it looks like the chain and the actual chainring is okay. It's just this guard that got a little bent up. Little hop clears the chainring. Plenty of power. Oh, this is a tight one here. Brakes still aren't great, so adds to the challenge, but I'm through. This drop isn't huge, but I don't like to do it on all of these bikes. Some of them feel like they just aren't made for it. This one seems like it should hold up. It does have a decent feeling shock. The fork, I guess we'll find out how that feels once I hit this drop. Well, that was actually pretty smooth. The fork doesn't feel too much different, but the shock helps quite a bit and made that a lot more enjoyable than some of the other bikes that I've hit it on. And the frame feels relatively stiff, so it feels like it should hold up decently as long as you don't go too big. So far, I think it is my favorite rear hub motor bike. Just has a better feel and more control having that torque sensor, so time to do a little bit more. Bit of a loose, loggy climb here. See how much control it has on this uphill corner. Not too bad. Bit challenging, but got it done. Whoa, a little bit more than I expected there, but kept my feet on the pedals. Hannah's turn for some tech here. Little drop off, no problem. The bike is a little big for her to maneuver through tight sections like this one here, but she gets right on through, no problem. Can you feel the difference between the other rear hub motor bikes that didn't have the torque sensor and this one?
Yeah, power wise, yeah.
Just has a bit more control in those tight situations, doesn't want to get away from you as much.
Yep, I would say I would agree with that.
That make it easier through there?
Yeah, I had more control. I felt smoother, the best way to put it.
Smoother and probably safer. Mm-hmm. Nice. Our mountain bike trails are actually a little overgrown right now, so we're going to make one up through the trials area. Hannah's going to show you how it's done and how well the bike performs. Still going to be a little tight, but a little more normal than the super tight trial stuff. Looks like a challenging hill here. How was that?
It was a little tough.
A little
I felt like I had to work for it a little.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That's what mountain biking is all about. Cruise down the hill over the jump, and it looks like it handled pretty well for a trail like that. My turn for the trail test. I noticed that Hannah bumped it down to assist level 2, so I'm back to 5 for maximum power, so I can go over stuff like that. So I gotta make it a little bit harder, right? And then go through this rock garden, test that full suspension. It was pretty bouncy through the rocks, and a lot of that is the suspension, but some of that could be from the tires as well. They have quite a bit of air in them. I didn't check them, I just ran what came in the box, so maybe going lower would help there. But there was a lot less rattling going on than other bikes, so that was nice. Got to see how it handles on a skinny, right? The true test is, can I turn around, get on this other one, make it to the other side? Pretty heavy to hop. Brakes are not great, but got it done. All right. Here is another very important test. Can it go backwards? Why, yes, it can. Okay, now it's time to see how fast this thing goes on road, starting out with throttle only. I do wish it was a twist throttle or something different than the left thumb throttle, but just cruising around, probably not a big deal, just not my favorite. Feels like I'm already up to speed, topping out at 19.5 or so. Got there pretty quick. The cutoff is probably 20, so it's just putting out what it can to stay under that. Now we'll see what it can do while pedaling. I'm in the fastest gear and the highest assist level, pushing me past 20 pretty quickly, up to 28. Don't think I'll get much more out of that unless I really push it. See what happens if I start cranking on the pedals. 29, but it's not helping me out much anymore, so it's going to be about it. I just want to compare the speed on the bike versus the GPS on my phone. I'm not sure that it is entirely accurate, but it should be pretty close, and it looks like the bike and the phone are pretty close as well, probably within a mile an hour or so. The bike does read a little high, but at least it's not telling you you're going 5 miles an hour faster than you really are. Now I'm cruising around on some trails on our farm, and they're actually pretty bumpy, but the suspension is doing a decent job of smoothing them out. Feels like the rear shock is doing a slightly better job than the front fork, but if you're just cruising around, it's probably good enough. It would also probably help to let some air out of the tires, but I'm just running it. The fork does top out pretty harsh if you pop the front end into the air, but that's pretty common on these. While there's definitely room for improvement on this bike, like the brakes, which just haven't come around as much as I was expecting, they should continue to get stronger as I use them. Hopefully they will. And the seat, which is just a little too wide for my liking. Among other things, I still think this is my favorite rear hub motor e-bike that I've tested so far. So if you want to pick one up for yourself or just find out more about it, you can check out the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.